Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first skill enhancement session of SAH course 2024. Day before yesterday on Saturday, you all wrote a baseline test, and most of the online students, what they wrote, I have had a look at. Offline students, after today's class, we are going to have a look at that, and I'll give you my feedback on that. But today we are going to work on all the things that we covered in the last session, all the mistakes that I pointed out in the last session. Okay, and we are going to work on those things starting today. All right. First, one thing that I want you guys to realize and internalize is what UPSC expects from you in your essays. The basic things that UPSC expects from you in your essays, we are going to start decoding now. Alright. So this is what it is mentioned in the application form. Okay, your notification that comes out every year in February. This is exactly what it mentions. So evaluation parameters are vividly given, but not that easy to decipher what exactly UPSC means. Like, it's like UPSC syllabus, right? They'll just give one line, inclusive growth, okay, and you have to yourself decipher what can be asked in with respect to inclusive growth here, right? So let us first decipher what UPSC expects from you. And one thing you have to realize here, that as long as you can meet this thing, what UPSC has given, as long as you can meet this thing, above average marks are guaranteed. At least in the worst case scenario, above average marks will be guaranteed as long as you can stick to what UPSC has given here. Alright, so let us decode one after the other. Okay, so kindly take down running notes unless said otherwise. Okay, for essays it's running notes unless I said otherwise. There will be some areas which I will dictate, but most of it is going to be running notes. So take down running notes here, and we are going to start with the first line. I think first line is fairly simple here, right? Candidates may be required to write essay on multiple topics. So that means how many topics? 2 topics you have to write. Okay, section A and section B. Prior to 2013, it was just one essay of 250 marks each. After that, it has been 125 into 2. So 2 topics, section A and section B, you have to write. Okay, and you have to write for 1000 to 1200 words. So that is the word limit here, what UPSC gives, 1000 to 1200 words. Now, when you are writing for 1000 to 1200 words, now GS answer you all know, right? 250 words, 150 words, sometimes in optional 300 words, 400 words. Now here there is a buffer of 200 words, above 1000, below 1200. So why do you think there is a buffer? Why not write an essay of about 1000 words, or let's say average 1100 words, neither 1000 nor 1200 words. Why is there this buffer? Anybody? Why do you think that there is this buffer of 200 words? There might be 2 reasons here. First thing is, on the same given topic, any topic you take, individual's opinion is going to vary. Individuals' ideas are going to vary. Some may express it in about 1000 words, some may express it little more. And most importantly, your handwriting fonts varies from person to person. But UPSC answer booklet length is fixed, 11.5 pages from 2020 onwards. So if you have bigger font, you may just be able to meet this. If you have a little bit of smaller font, you may go till this. But always remember, it should exceed 1000 and it should be below 1200, otherwise you will be penalized here. Okay, at any cost you should exceed this 1000 word limit. Safer side, your target should be 1100 plus. Don't keep 1200 because you may overshoot the word limit. Keep it 1100 plus. This is a safer side, because if you keep 1000, there is always a risk of underperforming, underwriting, which you do not want. right? So 1100 plus should be an ideal target here. Now this is very basic, everybody can understand. The actual cryptic nature starts here. They will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, and this is very, very important. They will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay. That means, very simple, whatever is the demand of the topic, you have to stick to that at any cost whatsoever. You cannot diverge or digress from the given topic. Stick to the demand of the topic at any cost whatsoever. You cannot divert from the topic, you cannot digress from the topic. No divergence, no digress. And one of the most common rookie mistake that especially people who are writing mains for the first time, or even some people who have written multiple times, do is they do not stick to the subject demand of the topic given. And I have seen in past couple of years, one of my students who did not address the topic, he simply got a 0 in his essay. His overall score was 55. It's not like he got 30 plus 25. He probably has got 55 in a single essay, and he got 0 in one more essay. Because after mains was over, we were sitting and discussing like what essay you wrote, and in that I realized that he has not addressed the topic. He has misunderstood the topic, and in that he has not addressed the topic, and I told him it's little risky, and unfortunately that turned out to be a disaster for him. And if you lose out on essay, if you get 0 in one essay, day 1 of mains itself you are out of the race. The best case scenario would be just getting an interview call. Definitely you are not going to make it to the list. Best case scenario then would be getting an interview call. So at any cost whatsoever, you need to stick and address the demand of the topic given without digressing or diverging. Now, this is the basic. This cannot happen at all. Now, see here, there is a word closely, and when you solved your prelims, this you can consider it as a flexible word for your elimination technique. Now, why is there this flexibility? Why not candidates will be expected to stick to the subject of the essay or keep to the subject of the essay? Now, what is the interpretation of the word closely? What UPSC wants? That means it's giving you scope for innovation. That means you can get in additional dimensions, you can get in counter dimension. So there is a scope for innovation, but within the given topic. So you can innovate, you can bring in additional dimensions, you can bring in unique dimensions, but it has to happen within the scope of the topic at any cost. See, you are saying closely to the subject of the essay. That means you can innovate, but as long as you are sticking, it's related to the topic. I'll just give you an example. We'll take a technical essay for example. Let's say there is a topic that is asked on artificial intelligence. Let's say they have asked on artificial intelligence. We start off with an introduction in the body to explain artificial intelligence. You brought in machine learning. Now, machine learning, it's related to artificial intelligence. So that means you are closely sticking to the topic. Let's say you wrote one paragraph on machine learning. You brought in one more paragraph on machine learning. You are still sticking to the demand of the topic. You are closely sticking. Though it is machine learning, it is related to artificial. Let's say instead of this one paragraphs and two paragraphs, these one paragraphs and two paragraphs became 1 pages or 2 pages, sometimes even 3 pages. That means you have digressed from the topic. So that means whatever additional dimensions, unique dimensions, additional ideas you get in has to be expressed in 1 paragraph, at best 2 paragraphs. Anything more than that, you risk yourself of going outside the scope of the topic. Innovation is welcome, Additional dimensions are welcome, counter dimensions are welcome, as long as you are sticking to the topic without overdoing it. Okay, without overdoing it. Anything you overdo, you risk yourself going away from the scope of the topic. Additional perspectives, counter perspective, unique perspectives, everything is welcome. But this has to be followed, and followed at any cost whatsoever. Right since test 1, which will start after these sessions, you make any mistakes, I'll be okay with it, but I want you to stick to the topic. This is a mistake that I will never be okay with, because here you are risking 125 marks. Here you are risking your mains examination altogether, and prelims is not very easy anymore, right? You should consider yourself lucky if you are getting an opportunity to write mains exam. So this is an unforgivable mistake. Right since test 1. Okay, I don't want you to do this mistake. How to avoid that? We are going to start in the next slide. But keep this in mind. Okay, internalize it. Innovation is welcome. So just by internalizing it, do not restrict yourself. Okay, am I going outside the scope? 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, very well you can do. But anything more than that, anything overdone, that becomes a risk here. Clear? All right. So this point is clear. Next point, to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion. Very important aspect of the essay. Now, what exactly is UPSC telling you when it says arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion? First thing, you should structure your essay very well. Like, there should be a proper intro, proper body, and a proper conclusion, which is clearly outlined. Like, a reader should understand, okay, this part is introduction, now the body is starting, without you writing introduction, body and conclusion. Okay, you don't have to write that, but the reader should understand. And one common mistake that I saw while I was reading online students' baseline test was the outline was not clear. I was not clear where the introduction is ending, where the body is starting, or especially even if there was clarity between intro and body, but there was absolutely no clarity between body and conclusion in many of the essays that I went through yesterday. Because intro and body, there will be a certain degree of clarity, but the problem happens with the transition from body to conclusion. And there I was like, okay, body is over, or it is conclusion is written, not written? No, it should be clearly visible. Okay, to arrange these ideas in their orderly fashion, and that's not it. This is structuring. And also, orderly fashion means there should be coherence in your essay. Now, coherence means it comes in especially in the body part. When you are writing the body of your essay, let's say we'll take the artificial intelligence one only for example. You started off, you wrote some introduction, you wrote the thesis, then in the body you are giving various aspects of artificial intelligence. Let's say you directly start telling that Niti Aayog has formed this commission on artificial intelligence to prevent job losses, to encourage innovation, upskilling, reskilling. Then you write challenges posed by artificial intelligence, job losses, redundancy of jobs, many people will lose jobs, and then you define artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? That means there is no coherence in your essay. Randomly you have just filled whatever has come to your brain. Ideally, first part of the body should be the definition, the various definition. Then you can write either the challenges or the opportunities, and then you can write the possible solutions for that. This is not how you should write. I am just giving an example for you to understand what is coherence. Coherence, very simply put, it should make sense. Especially for a philosophical topic, if the reader is reading, he should be able to understand what exactly you have written in a very structured manner. Okay, so there should be coherence between various paragraphs of an essay, and that means one more way of getting coherence is flow. Okay, there should be flow from ideas to ideas, dimensions to dimensions, paragraphs to paragraph. Ideas to ideas, dimensions to dimensions, paragraphs to paragraph. So three things here to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion. First thing, structure. Structure your essay into a proper introduction, proper body, proper conclusion, which the examiner should get a hang that okay, this is where the introduction ends, body starts and body ends and the conclusion is starting. Next is there should be coherence between the paragraphs, okay, and between the ideas that you have arranged, because they have told arrange your ideas. Ideas means your dimensions. Okay, I'll come to that. First we'll finish this and I'll come what are ideas. And then there should be a good flow, either mechanical or organic, which we'll work upon. Now coming to what exactly does UPSC means by ideas. Ideas can be dimensions, your arguments and counter arguments, your ideas can be analysis of the topic. So these are the various aspects, or description of the topic, because a given set of topic is going to have various ideas in an individual, and that you need to arrange them in an orderly fashion. So ideas can be dimensions, arguments, counter arguments, analysis or description. Clear? Now next comes one more very important part. Clearly UPSC has told, write concisely, and this is one phrase that I am bracing myself to use zillions of times, because last year I think in the 3 months I should have used thousands of time, write concisely, write concisely, write concisely, so much that even in dreams sometimes I used to hear myself tell write concisely. And this is one bad habit everybody has. They do not write concisely, and I think in yesterday about 90% of the essays that I glanced through as part of baseline test, 90% of the people had not written concisely. Either the introduction was over elaborated, or the entire essay was over elaborated, or some dimensions of the body were over elaborated. Now write concisely means beating around the bush should not happen at any cost. Now I know you have to write for 1000 to 1200 words. I know it's quite a lot of words to be written. The idea is like how we did in the school time, that the examiner will allot marks for the number of pages that we fill. That is not going to happen in UPSC. Let's say you get one dimension, one brilliant idea, you kept on writing 3 pages about that. You are not going to get more marks. It's going to be counterproductive for you. Now, what happens when you over elaborate? So, when you over elaborate, first thing is your ideas or dimensions become limited. Let's say this, we'll take that artificial intelligence only. The definition of artificial intelligence, you are defining like anything. You have your own definition, you have some author's definition, you have some organization's definition. That only you did for the introduction itself, you did it for 2.5 pages. That compromises the ideas that you can introduce in the essay. One over elaborated dimension means you are compromising somewhere else, and the biggest victim of over elaboration is most of the time conclusion, because you are out of time and out of space because of over elaboration, and you will write a 1 paragraph or a 4-line conclusion like how we write for GS, and that will lead you to it will affect your structuring also. If it affects your coherence also, it affects your flow also. So all three things will be affected. So right since today, when we start with the class exercises shortly, I want you to concisely express yourself. It will take practice. It may not happen directly today, but it should definitely happen within 1.5 2 months. Okay, keep August 15th as the target. Okay, after August 15th, no over elaboration, as concisely as possible, because the more concisely you write, the better you can express yourself. An ideal paragraph length will be 5 to 7 lines. Okay, 5 to 7 lines. Okay, lesser than that also you can write 4-line paragraph, but that will be too short. A 5 to 7 line paragraph would be an ideal length. Once in a while you can exceed it to 8 to 9 lines. Once in a while. And remember, try and keep at least 2 paragraphs per page. 2 paragraphs, if not 3. Okay, 2 to 3 paragraphs per page should be there. It will look neat also, because yesterday I was seeing one paragraph, one page was there. Don't do that. Okay, try to keep 2 to 3 paragraphs per page of 5 to 7 lines. If you are writing 5 to 7 lines, automatically 2 paragraphs at least will happen. And if your handwriting font is little less, it may go up to 3 paragraphs as well. You can write little shorter paragraphs also once in a while, and little bigger paragraph also. This is not like the golden rule, but a golden mean, you can say. Once in a while, what happens when you are trying to explain something complicated, which requires more words, you can do that. Just in case you are saying that you need more words to express yourself, split it into 2 paragraphs. Instead of one big paragraph of 12 lines, split it into 2 paragraphs of 6 to 7 lines. That will do. Alright, that anyways will work on. Okay, so this has to be practiced upon. It will come with practice, because by tendency humans, okay, have the habit of beating around the bush. Okay, especially whatever the essays probably you wrote in schools or graduation, you would have over elaborated, over exaggerated it, because you had to meet the word limit, or 3 pages or 4 pages. But now you cannot over elaborate. Okay, try to write it as concisely as possible. Now that brings us to the last line, the most important line, because UPSC is telling credit will be given here. Okay, credit will be given for effective and exact expression. So what does UPSC means by effective and exact expression? We are going to now decode and decipher, and then I will take your doubts. Now, effective and exact expression. First we will come to effective expression. Simply put, effective expression means what you are trying to convey, okay, the examiner should understand. Whatever you are trying to convey, because you are writing 1000 to 1200 words, there may be areas where the examiner may not be convinced adequately, examiner may not be convinced effectively. So simply put, effective expression is the examiner should understand very easily, very lucidly, beyond any sort of confusion. There should be no confusion. The expression that should be effective, and that's also exact. But what makes an expression effective? Now, effective expression and exact expression, understanding. So how do you make an examiner understand? How do you make your expressions more effective? As simple as that. Whatever ideas that you have generated here, ideas can be dimensions, your arguments and counter arguments, your analysis or your description should be substantiated. Should be substantiated. Now I will give you 2 examples here, like 2 statements I will give you, statement A and statement B. You decide which is a more effective statement. Statement A: aspirants should join Essay Edge course. That's all. Okay. Aspirants should join Essay Edge course. Nothing more. Statement B. Aspirants should join Essay Edge course because all the people who joined the course previously have shown improvements in their essay marks and scored well in their actual essay paper. Okay, I will repeat. Those who are although all the aspirants who have joined the course previously have shown improvements in their essay scores and scored well in their actual UPSC mains paper. Which is the more effective expression? No brainer. Statement B. Why? I am giving a substantiation. Here it is a blanket statement. Here I am giving the statement, the same statement is substantiated. So, when I substantiate it, does it become more convincing or less convincing for the people? More convincing. So, that is what you have to do. You have to convince the examiner that, okay, this is a good essay. See, essays are very subjective. I will keep on telling this in all the classes. So, you have to try your level best to convince the examiner that you have understood the topic, and after understanding the topic, you have written it very well, very effectively and exactly. Exactly within the scope of the topic without beating around the bush, same thing. But effective expression is key here, very important, and effective expression is very vital, very important. And UPSC has clearly mentioned credit will be given. So, this is where you push your marks from above average. Till here if you follow, as long as you are meeting the word limit, arranging the ideas in an orderly fashion, doing justice to the topic, above average are guaranteed. The last line will take your above average to good, excellent, and if your luck is there, legendary marks as well. So, this is where you push. This is where you secure the above average level, and this is where you push to beyond outstanding, to excellent, to sky is the limit. Okay, so this is where. Now, this is the basic parameters what UPSC wants from you. If you have any sort of doubts with whatever we have covered so far, because this is very important and I want all of you to internalize it and remember what exactly UPSC wants from you. Trust me, open this notification or take a screenshot of that, do whatever you want, but before you start writing an essay, okay, always read these parameters. And this is just 4 lines, or by heart those 4 lines, so that your brain keeps on telling you, write concisely, stick to the demand of the topic, write effectively, arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion, because this is needed and this is what UPSC is expecting from you, and you should learn it, internalize it, memorize it, do whatever you want, just keep this always. Okay, and actually I always suggest even before going to the actual exam, right, before you enter, because the essay paper you have nothing to revise much, only some anecdotes or anything, just before you enter you can just have a glance at this and then enter the examination hall, or before you go inside the examination hall. Alright, so if you have any doubts, do ask me here. Yeah, any doubts here? There is no limit to the paragraph as long as you can finish. The word limit is needed. Okay, above 1000, below 1200. Okay, ideally target 1100 plus words, and that should be sufficient. All right, so now that we are clear what UPSC wants from you people, let's see what are the types of essays that you can write in your mains exam, or generally there are about 16 types of essays. 4 types can be written for UPSC. Out of that, 3 types of essays are preferable. The last one is not. Okay, and the first one is the argumentative type of essay that can be written. Argumentative type of essay. Now, as I was telling you the other day, argumentative type of essays are very impactful on the examiner's mind. It creates a strong impact on the reader. And one example I have given from PYQs, that is, can capitalism bring inclusive growth? The answer is yes, no, maybe. When you say yes, it becomes the argument. When you counter it, or when you say no, it becomes the counter argument. Or you can start with no, capitalism does not bring inclusive growth, it leads to inequalities, and you can give the counter of that. So that is called as an argumentative type of essay, and that creates a strong feeling on the mind of the examiner. Next is the analytical type of essay or expository type of essay, where you analyze the topic in various dimensions based on the knowledge that you have. Okay, you take the topic, you analyze that in various dimensions based on the knowledge that you have accumulated. For example, this can be a very nice topic for analytical type of essay. Patriarchy is the least noticed yet most significant structure of social inequality, which is again a PYQ. And this analytical type of essay also creates a strong impact on the mind of the examiner. Okay, the analytical type of essay also creates a strong impact on the mind of the examiner. Again, it is suggested that you write the analytical type of essay as well. And then comes the descriptive style of essay. And the descriptive style of essay, you just take the essay topic and you keep on defining the essay topic in various dimensions. You keep on elaborating the essay topic in various dimensions, and the impact on the mind of the examiner is moderate. Okay, the impact on the mind of the examiner is moderate when it comes to the analytical descriptive type of essay. And last one is not suggested because it's too risky, and you will not be able to meet the parameters of UPSC by creating a lot of ideas. That is the narrative style of essay. Narrative style of essay is just storytelling. Okay, you take a story from introduction to the conclusion, a single story you tell, right? So when you write that story, that becomes a narrative style of essay. It is a very difficult skill to master, and even if you master, it is very impossible to meet the parameters of UPSC that we discussed in the previous slide. Okay, so this thing. So the thing here, you should aim at writing an essay which is argumentative and analytical, and whichever dimensions you cannot do, argumentative or analytical, you can write it in as a description. The target should be, you start off with argumentative or analytical, and you should, wherever it is not possible, you should try and make it descriptive. Okay, so these two are suggested, argumentative and analytical. Descriptive, let it be your plan B, worst case scenario plan B, because it is very easy. Just take the essay topic and describe in various dimensions. All right, Ankit, it is based on the arguments. Let's say if an argument becomes too big, you can substantiate it in the next paragraph. And see, conciseness should be determined by the message conveyed. As long as your message is conveyed effectively, it is concise. So you should not over elaborate. We'll work on that in the body and in your tests as well, right? So this is with respect to the types of essays. Now that brings us to the first aspect, that is brainstorming. So we are going to have brainstorming, we are going to study that twice. Today we are going to do the basics of brainstorming, and in the advanced classes, that is the expertise enhancement classes, we will come back to brainstorming for more effective brainstorming. Okay, so we are going to come back to this in the brainstorming session 2 that will happen in the expertise enhancement classes, because for me to effectively explain you brainstorming or how to do effective brainstorming, you need to write a few tests, at least about 3 tests, so that you understand your fallacies, and based on that I can tell you how to effectively brainstorm. Today whatever we do will be sufficient for the first few tests. Now a common a very common mistake that I think all of you have realized by now, if you have written if you have written a baseline test, or if you have written essays previously, you take too much time to select the topic. To put it as a GIF, you will be like this in the examination hall. Okay, you have 4 topics, totally of 8 in section A 4, and in section B 4 more, and you are like, what topic to select, right? And you are still confused, right? Even after 5 minutes you will be still like that only. Okay, you are there and you are still confused, like you are still not gone anywhere, your brain is not finalized, and the clock is running out. See, the clock has already started at 9 a.m. and you are 7 minutes, 8 minutes into the essay paper, but the topic is not yet finalized. You are trying to see which topic suits you better, and this has become a major obstacle from 2021 onwards. Why? Because before 2020 there were 2 types of essay topics given. Okay, one, what we call it as a technical or subject wise topics, or GS topics, where topic is either from your GS1, GS2 or GS3, and these are called as technical or subject wise topics. And when the 4 topics are technical or GS, it's very easy to select the topic. You see the topic and you will recall where you have by-hearted the most content, right? And you will select the topic. It will not be much difficult. At best you may be stuck between 2 topics, or sometimes your optional may be a deciding factor. For example, let's say somebody's optional is sociology. 4th topic, the patriarchy topic, will be easily selected by them. Or let's say somebody's optional is public administration. First topic will be a cakewalk for them, because they would have studied that topic in their optional. Or somebody is very good in Indian economy or science and tech, they will either go with the 2nd topic or 3rd topic. So either optional, or let's say you don't have any common optional, but wherever you have by-hearted the most content in GS, you are going to select that topic. It was easy to decide, but I always felt, especially when I wrote essays back in my days as an aspirant, that these technical topics or GS subject wise topics are a little unfair, because these are from various different years. Let's say hypothetically assume all these are given as a topic in section A and you have to pick one. So this is actually unfair for those people who do not have sociology or public administration, or not good at economy or science and technology. Let's say your optional is Kannada literature or history. So you don't have an advantage here. Let's say an international relation topic was asked, so that means a person having PSIR as an optional will have a little bit of advantage, because they would have studied the same topic much more in depth than a person studying GS. They will have ready-made thinkers, theories, examples. And from 2021 onwards, UPSC decided to level the playing field. Earlier how it was, one section subject wise or technical essays, in the section B philosophical essays, where UPSC started asking most of the essays as philosophical topics. And philosophical topics is a level playing field for everybody, because everything is like a quote. Slightly may overlap with GS4, but everything is like a quote, and it is indeed a very level playing field. And that's when the issue happens, because you see, let's say these are the 4 topics. You will have an idea about almost every topic, or at least 3 topics, but will you be able to write 1000 to 1200 words on each and every topic? And that is a big question mark, because you have no ready-made content, you have no ready-made examples, your optional is of no use. And here is a true test of your writing skills, and one of the reasons why essay scores are declining. Earlier, if somebody got 120, we would say average score. Now last year anybody got 120 plus, it's a good score. 130 plus, very good score. 140 plus, legendary score. 101 was the median score. I went through about 2000 transcripts or mark sheets that came in the one of the Telegram channel, and I calculated 101 was the median score. 101 to 1010 is slightly above average. 110 to 120, it is decent enough. 120 to 130 is good. 130 plus is very good. 140 plus, it's like 170, 160 in 2020 and before. One of the reasons why scores are declining is topics are philosophical. You take more time to select the topic. Sometimes you select the topic and you get stuck and then you have to go back. But if you already started writing, you have to continue writing. So that is the challenge, but it is actually a very good thing. It's a level playing field, and I always enjoyed writing a philosophical topic as an aspirant, so that's an added advantage. Technical topic, it's actually not a skill of your test. Sorry, it's not a test of your skills. It is just how much you can by heart and how much flow you can generate in the stuff that you have by hearted, how well can you organize. These topics are the true test of your writing. First of all, it tests whether or not you have understood the topic. Next, to write 1000 to 1200 words, that too argumentative, because you see these topics some of them are naturally argumentative. Was it the policy paralysis or paralysis of implementation which slowed down the growth? Argument and counter argument is there in the topic only, at least major ones. Here, can capitalism bring inclusive growth? Again, argumentative by nature. This rise of artificial intelligence, the threat of a jobless future or better job opportunities through reskilling and upskilling, argumentative by nature. Here, where is the ships? What do they sink? Where is the harbor? What is the argument? And see this topic, 2021. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. Some Nityananda type of quotes also can be given. Right? First of all, you will take 10 minutes to understand what exactly is the quote. Right? So that brings out the true writing skills. Test your writing skills when it comes to your essays. Alright. Now, we will go on to how do you do the brainstorming. How to exactly select the topic will come back in brainstorming session 2 in the expertise enhancement classes. For now, it's not needed. Okay. For now, we'll just focus on how do you do the brainstorming. Alright. Moving on. First thing with respect to brainstorming is you have selected the topic. I'm telling after selection of the topic what to do. The thing here is you need to keep the time you take to brainstorm as less as possible, 15 to 20 minutes. Anything more than 20 is not ideal. 15 is a very, very ideal thing. Maximum of 20. 15 is ideal, but maximum of 20. Anything more than that, it's not suggested, because you are getting stuck. You are falling behind in the first essay itself. What happens is when you take too much time for brainstorming the first essay, you will take too much time to finish the first essay. Instead of finishing in 90 minutes, you take 1 hour 45 minutes for first essay, and that means 15 minutes less for second essay. Second essay you will brainstorm for 5 minutes or maximum of 10 minutes and then scribble. So that sort of affects your essay, second essay. So your brainstorming time should ideally not exceed 20 minutes. 15 minutes is very, very ideal for effective brainstorming. Now, why you must having a doubt in your mind that what if we just skip the brainstorming and directly pick and start writing, or just do 4 to 5 minutes of brainstorming. You saw the essay, you scribbled something, and we'll get more time to write. That is also not suggested. Yes, it will save you time, but effective brainstorming will not happen. Now, what happens if you do not brainstorm properly? If there is no effective brainstorming, let's say if you do not brainstorm properly, it may lead you to generation of lesser dimensions. Less dimensions. And you may think that you know the topic to write. Let's say you selected a topic out of 4 and you know that okay, you can write, but you did not do brainstorm, you started writing. After 2 pages, 2.5 pages, you are stuck. You are unable to generate one sentence, one idea, one example more. You are stuck. It's a dead end. There is no going back. You are stuck. You are stuck there. But if you have done brainstorming, let's say you are doing brainstorming for the topic, after 3 ideas you are unable to generate an idea, then you still have an option. You may have wasted 5 to 7 minutes, but you still have an option of choosing some other topic. Brainstorming helps and act as a fail safe just in case you are stuck to the topic, stuck with the topic. Philosophical essays, you do not know how much content you have, how much effectively you can write. Technical essays, you have an idea, but philosophical essays, you don't. So it acts as a fail safe just in case you have chosen a wrong topic. If you get stuck, you may have lost some time, you can always make it up. But if you have started writing, you have to somehow finish the same topic, no scratching, nothing. If you scratch, then it will become a big disaster. Next, while we are discussing the parameters, UPSC's expectations from you, I told you arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion. The proper structuring of your essay will only happen if there is a brainstorming done. What should be there in the introduction? What should come as a first dimension in the body? What should come as a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then what should be the transition and what should be the conclusion? That will only happen if there is effective brainstorming. Otherwise, it will become very, very difficult. It will become very, very difficult to organize your ideas in an orderly fashion. Because your brain is getting random ideas and you are randomly writing. But if you have done the brainstorming, all the random ideas could be arranged in an orderly fashion so that a proper coherence, a proper structuring is achieved in the essay. Next, if you have done the brainstorming, it gives you an opportunity to accommodate additional ideas when you are writing the essay. Let's say you did the brainstorming, you are writing the essay, you are 3 pages done, then your brain gives you another idea, a new dimension, a new argument or new analysis. And then you go back to the brainstorming sheet and you scribble it down and then you see if you can accommodate that new idea that has come to you or replace any existing idea. You can do it. If it does not messes up with the flow of the essay, coherence of the essay, you can easily do it. But if you have not done the brainstorming in the first place, forget about the additional ideas. Original ideas itself are scarce to come. So always remember, brainstorming will give you scope for some changes, minor tweaks or incorporation of additional ideas. First, brainstorming will ensure that it is a fail-safe. You know that okay, you can write 1000 to 1200 words. Next, it will help you structure your essay seamlessly, effectively and arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion. And last but not the least, it will give you scope. It will give you scope to incorporate additional ideas, arguments and analysis. Before we can see how to brainstorm, I'll tell you what not to brainstorm. Apart from wasting the time, do not write a mini essay there. One thing I have seen is half essay is written there only in rough. No need. If you can jot down the broad ideas, arguments and analysis of your essay, that is more than sufficient. That should be more than sufficient. You don't have to write a mini essay there because you have to stick to the time limit there. 20 minutes max, 15 minutes ideal. And try incorporate these things from your test 1 itself. Okay, try incorporating them in test 1. And you just need a rough framework, a skeleton for an essay. All the muscle, skin, blood, everything you can add while you write. Just the skeleton part is needed, rough framework. What should be an introduction? major dimensions of your body, what should be the conclusion? And also brainstorming will help you sort of tweak the essay around. Let's say you have selected something as your introduction, but when you are just about to write, you feel that it is not very impactful. You can see what else is there in the body. So you can swap. Okay, you can bring one dimension of the body to the introduction and then you can swap it. So brainstorming is very effective in organizing your essays, and it is the most underrated part of the essay. It's basically planning, where every idea is incorporated, good ideas, bad ideas, good examples, bad examples, and then you segregate thing and arrive at the final product. And you do brainstorming almost on a daily basis. Like let's say you want to go to a trip. You brainstorm what are the things to carry, where to go, where to stay. That's nothing but brainstorming. From going to trips to robbing a bank. Everything needs brainstorming. Let's say we all want to rob a bank. Since the session is broadcast live on YouTube, this is just a hypothetical scenario I am discussing. We need brainstorming for that. Like first we need to select which bank, right? Preferably one with the least security and money, because money should also be there. Then when, how, where, and the last part as a conclusion, what to do with the money that we get. Right? That's nothing but brainstorming. Like, you must have watched that money heist, right? What they do in the classroom, right? Same classroom like this, right? The professor will be on the board, they sit and discuss. Just instead of smartboard, there will be a model of the bank. That is nothing but brainstorming. So essays, brainstorming is a very underrated part, and many people fall behind in brainstorming because of two reasons. One, they take too much time to brainstorm, and number two, they do not effectively brainstorm. Half brainstorming. Okay, introduction is done, 2-3 dimensions of body. Oh, time is running out. Let me do on the way. Idea should be, and even in the worst case, almost entire essay should be brainstormed. Almost entire essay. Within 20 minutes, under 20 minutes. Lesser than 15 is not prescribed unless you are severely running out of time in the second essay. That's why time management becomes very important. 90 minutes, 90 minutes. Not a second more for the first essay, 90 minutes. So ensure that brainstorming should be effective without wasting too much time. That should cover these things. So now let us come to how to brainstorm. What are the major things that you should cover in the brainstorming first 15-20 minutes, and then I will take your doubts. Now, what should be the framework? I told you to prepare a rough framework. So, what should the rough framework contain? This we will discuss now. So, brainstorming is nothing but your ideas, rough ideas. First thing, you should start with what you will write as an introduction, the idea for introduction. What anecdote or what description. So that should be covered in your brainstorming. First thing, always start off with introduction. Random ideas will come, first scribble them down. Okay, brainstorming should be done in the rough sheet that is provided in your booklet at the end. And it doesn't have to be very neat per se, but ensure that you should understand it. Right? Because what happens is, what I have seen, they brainstorm, very scribble it. After half of the essay, they will come and like, what did I write here? I am only not understanding. Examiner will never read it. You should scratch it out after you are done with the essay. But after half of the essay, you should remember or at least realize what you have written. So keep it very organized. Okay, you can number it. Whatever the ideas come, just jot them down. Number 1, number 2, number 3. And then select what will be a very good introduction, which will be a good introduction for your essay. So idea of introduction should be there. Next, all the remaining things, what are the major arguments, major analysis or major dimensions that you are going to generate in your essay, including any unique examples that come.
See, I don't want you to reverse engineering, generate examples and go to the arguments and analysis. It should be the other way around. First arguments, analysis or description and then examples. How to do it? We are going to see in the body part. Okay, this is what should be done in the brainstorming. So how to generate arguments, analysis without reverse engineering, we will see in the body, not an issue. And number them. Number them means after introduction is over, which is the first dimension of the body. Because you have to arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion. Number 2, number 3, number 4. So numbering becomes very important here. So whatever the ideas are there, so 1, 2, 3, sometimes 7, sometimes even 8. Based on the size of your handwriting, font size, as well as your skill of writing. So number them. And then idea of the conclusion, what you will write as a conclusion. And write it. Introduction, you number it as I, for conclusion number it as C, and remaining things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After you are done with all this, glance through. From introduction to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and conclusion, glance, very important. And see if it makes a coherence. If it is coherent, if it makes a coherent sense, if there are any major mistakes that you have made, if you have organized and structured your ideas in an orderly fashion. So check, very 10-15 seconds it will take. Just roughly you just check whether you have achieved this. If you have fairly achieved this, that is more than sufficient. And then comes one important aspect of your core argument, which many people miss in your essays writing, that generate a draft or a rough core argument or thesis. How to write that core argument or generate that? If time permits, at the end of the class today or tomorrow. We are going to see how to generate draft arguments. So these are the things that should be covered in the brainstorming. Idea of the introduction, idea of major dimensions, arguments, analysis of the body, then idea of the conclusion, and then a draft core argument. Draft, okay, you don't have to write it in detail, just the draft core argument is going to suffice. Right? That should cover most of the things. Clear? Alright. So, this is about the brainstorming, and if you have any doubts, do ask, otherwise we will begin with the introduction. Any doubts? Yeah.
I'm having trouble brainstorming beyond third or fourth page. Brainstorming the introduction is easy and how I conclude is somewhat I get to know that.
Okay.
But what I'm going to put in between.
Okay, so you are having trouble generating the body dimensions, right? So probably because like you might not have written too many essays before this. As and when we do exercises in the class, I think at least you will reach 900 to 950 words, and I think within 2 or 3 tests you should increase. Okay, this generally happens if you are having trouble generating dimensions. It will basic reason behind this is lack of practice, right? So as long as you start practicing adequately, I think that should be sufficient.
So what is the good practice? Like both the essays together?
No, don't brainstorm both the essays together. What happens if you brainstorm the essays together is there may be a hang of one topic on the other. Examples may become repetitive. One at a time. You can write first section B and then come to section A, or directly go to section A and go to section B, but one at a time. Never do it simultaneously. You can glance through section B topics and decide which topic you may write, but don't brainstorm them together. Any further doubts?
So
Yeah.
when you discuss the type of essays, can essay be a mix of?
Sometimes it can be a mix of both. It can be a mix of both. Right? 2 years back they asked, forests are an case study for economic excellence or something like that. So it is slightly philosophical and it is slightly, it has overlaps with GS3. Yes, Ajay. Yeah, we are going to do that now, Brijesh, right? The entire one we are going to do in the expertise enhancement classes. With respect to the introduction, each part of the body, I will give you some times, some seconds to brainstorm, and then you can take it down. For how to improve vocabulary, watch the previous session. I have covered that imitate then innovate approach there. Alright, so let us now start with introduction, and first I am going to start by speaking about the importance of introduction. Before we see the various parts of the introduction, the importance of introduction, and introduction is very, very important. So are the different parts of the body, so are the conclusion. Now coming to the importance of introduction. Right. So one thing that you have to remember here is introduction is the first thing the examiner reads as part of your essay, and you must know that popular quote: first impression is the best impression. You should ensure that you create a very, very good impression on the mind of the examiner, right? Whether it's a job interview, whether you are writing an essay or going out on a date, first impression is the best impression, and you should ensure that it becomes very, very lucid, it becomes very, 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 very impactful, because the first thing the examiner is going to read in your essays. Now coming to the various aspects of your introduction here, okay, so we'll see the various parts, but now let me tell you here that why is introduction very important apart from making the examiner the first thing he reads. Now introduction is also where you convey to the examiner that you have understood the topic. Whether or not, especially if it's a philosophical essay, right? So whether or not you have understood the topic, that is going to be conveyed to the examiner just by reading the introduction. And for me, around 85% of the essays that I read, just by reading the introduction, I will know whether or not you are going to do justice to the topic, or whether I am going to do the justice very partially. So that is very clear for me just by reading the introduction. Just by reading the introduction, it becomes very, very clear for me. So it gives an idea to the examiner whether or not you have understood the topic, and the first impression it creates, and it sets the tone for the rest of the essay. It sets the tone for the rest of the essay, like what one person can expect from your essays. So it's going to set the tone for the rest of the essay. So introduction is very important. It creates a first and a lasting impression on the mind of the examiner. It will convey whether or not you have understood the topic, and next it sets the tone for the rest of the essay. Right? It sets the tone for the rest of the essay, and that makes introduction a very, 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 very important aspect. And this conveying to the examiner that you have understood the topic, it is the most important aspect of the essay, along with creating a lasting impression. Okay, so this is the importance of introduction. Let us now see the various parts of the introduction. There are 3 parts to an introduction generally: the hook, the funnel, and the thesis statement. And the most important part obviously is the thesis here, the thesis statement. The hook, the funnel and the thesis statement. Thesis statement is the most important part of the essay. The hook, funnel and the thesis. Now we are going to take one part of the essay starting now, and we are going to work on those parts of the essay, right? So there is hook, there is funnel, there is thesis, right? So we are going to start with the hook, the first part, and then we are going to work on the various parts of the essay using various class exercises, some random topics, some PYQs we are going to do, and some exercises I will give it as your homework, okay, that you can do it at your home, right? Both for philosophical topics as well as technical topics. See, this year also I expect largely the topics to be philosophical in nature, but still let us work on both philosophical topics as well as technical topics, right? So let us begin with hook. I think all of you must have seen a fish hook. How does a fish hook works? What is the purpose behind a fish hook? You take a fish hook, you attach some bait to that, and you just throw it in the water and you wait for the fish to come and get attached to it, right? That is how you fish. So same thing here, just that you are doing that to attract the attention of the examiner, so in order to create a long lasting impression. As they say in Hindi, dana dala, or in Kannada as kaar hakodu, right? So here the hook means basically that, okay, you are just grabbing the attention of the examiner while conveying to the examiner that, okay, I am going to create a very impactful essay within the scope of the topic, where you are explaining to the examiner that you have understood the topic. Along with that, you are like, be prepared to be impressed. Or if you have to explain it one more GIF, if you remember this popular GIF, it should be, examiner should be like Rajpal Yadav here, like, wow, okay, I want to read more of your essay. After reading your hook, the examiner should be eager to read more of your essay. What comes in the body, what is your thesis statement, what is there in your conclusion. Simply put, that should be the purpose of a hook. Hook used to grab the attention of the examiner and to convey to the examiner that you have understood the topic. So kindly note down this thing. I dictate. Take on. Hook should serve two purposes. Hook should serve two purposes. Number one, to convey to the examiner that you have understood the topic. To convey to the examiner that you have understood the topic. Number two, grab the attention of the examiner. Grab the attention of the examiner by writing an impactful hook. To grab the attention of the examiner by writing an impactful hook. Okay, so this is the two purposes the hook serves, right? Now there are various types of writing a hook, and there are some suggested types and there are not so suggested types, which we are going to discuss. The first one, anecdotal or the story hook, is the most commonly written hook by UPSC aspirants or anywhere in any exam. Okay, they always start off with a small short story. Yesterday, J.K. Rowling was written 5 times. In so far the essay that I have read, APJ Abdul Kalam twice as a hook, and I think one time Helen Keller. Elon Musk was 3 times. Okay, Elon Musk was 3 times. And yes, these are the most commonly used hooks, but they do not serve as a hook because everybody knows them. So some anecdotal story, anecdote, which is unique in nature. So the key here, it should be unique. For it to serve as a hook, it should always be unique. Examiner should not know about that. So try to be as unique as possible with respect to the anecdotal hook or the story hook. Next is the interesting question hook. You start by asking an interesting questions. Remember here, the key is interesting question. Do not ask questions like क्या आपके toothpaste में नमक है, right? So all those things are not needed. Something very relevant, very interesting question. And if you are starting your essay with an interesting question, always remember either in the next paragraph of introduction or in the body, preferably in the conclusion, you have to answer the question. Do not leave it like a suspense. It's not a thriller. Okay, preferably in the conclusion. Why in the conclusion? Because it creates a natural flow in the essay. If you started off with an interesting question, till the end you kept the suspense. In the climax or in the conclusion, you are answering the question. So always answer the question if you have asked or started your essay with an interesting question. Remember, the question should be interesting, and second thing, question should be answered either in the next paragraph or in the somewhere in the body, but preferably in the conclusion before you conclude. Do not leave it as a cliffhanger. Next is the plan B, your fail safe, is a descriptive hook. So descriptive hook is when you describe the topic. You are not able to think of anything unique. You are not able to think of anything to grab the attention of the examiner. So what you do is you start by describing the topic, but here for it to serve it as a hook, describe it in very effective and a very impactful manner. For that to be served as a hook, describe it in a very effective and a impactful manner. Always remember, you have to describe it in an impactful manner. This should be your plan B. Because what happens is sometimes you are unable to think of anything and your time is running out in the brainstorming sheet. So what you can do is you can describe it as impactful as possible. We are going to practice plan B also. We will go with descriptive hook, not suggested, but we have to be as impactful as possible in our expression, so that your descriptive hook is better than somebody's anecdotal hook or a story hook. That also will do, because we have to always be ready for all situations, because this is 250 marks, right? Because time is also of essence. You are running out of time in brainstorming, nothing comes. Write descriptive hook, but if you are writing descriptive hook, ensure that your descriptive hook is better than everybody else's, whatever hook they have used. Always remember, yours should be better than the others. That's how you get more marks in your essays. Clear? Next is a hook that is not suggested, fact or statistic hooks, because all the facts are commonly known. Unless you can come up with a very mind-blowing fact or a statistic, I wouldn't suggest this, because it does not create that much of a impact on the mind of the examiner, right? So it does not create that much of a impact on the mind of the examiner. So preferably steer clear of fact or a statistic hook. And next is a strong statement or a declaration hook, and that is not needed for UPSC experience, because I have had a lot in my UPSC experience. This fact, strong statements or a declaration hook has been counterproductive, and some of my students have previously written so much strong statements and strong declaration that I fear you people writing strong statement and declaration. Couple of years back, one of the students had declared, prepare and brace yourself, for this essay is about to blow your mind. Okay, zero, direct zero, this thing. So no need of this strong declaration or this thing, you can steer clear of that. Next is quotation hook, and as I discussed in the previous class, if it is a philosophical topic, do not go for a quotation based hook. Quotation based hook is when you start with a very unique quote, okay, unique quotes or unique lines by some author, right? So for a philosophical topic which is already like a quote, quotation based hooks are not suggested. Whereas for a technical topic, you can definitely go with unique quotes. Unique quotes. Let's say artificial intelligence is there, or something, capitalism is there, so any topic, okay, you can go with a unique quote. Okay, we can definitely go with a unique quote that will help you, right? So just to recap here, anecdotal and story hook most commonly written, and one key here is has to be as unique as possible. Next is an interesting question hook. You can ask an interesting question, but the key here is the question should be interesting, and second thing, it has to be answered either in the body or in the conclusion, preferably in the conclusion. Description hook, let this be your plan B here, okay, and with respect to plan B, try to make sure your description is better than anybody else's or anybody else's introduction. Try and write it impactfully. Next two are not suggested. Quotation based hook, suggested for philosophical topic, not suggested for philosophical topic, and you can definitely use it for technical or subject wise or GS topics if at all given in your exam, right? So this is how you have to start your essay, right? So since you all have some idea, what happened to this? I think there is the font that I have used in the PPT is not there in the system. So the font that I have used, it's not there as part of the system, so I'll just write down the topic, so we can write down the hooks for that. So we'll start with the class exercises here, okay, and one after the other we are going to write the class exercises, and we'll do it in a time bound manner. Remember, I will always give little bit of lesser time, okay, try to be as efficient as possible. So this is how it will go, okay. You are going to write a hook now. We'll start with an anecdotal hook and then we'll go with the other forms of hook. And remember, take about 1 minute to brainstorm, 1.5 minutes to brainstorm. Write within 3.5 to 4 minutes. Overall 5 minutes you are going to get, okay, 5 minutes, and 1 to 1.5 minutes to brainstorm, and 3.5 to 4 minutes to write, okay. So, and remember here, we are writing an anecdotal hook. Try to be as unique as possible, okay. Do not come up with commonly known anecdotes, but whatever you write, you just let me know, okay. And I will read out couple. Online students, you can send me the hook that you have written, okay. Take a pic of it and send it to me on my Telegram ID. Knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. So this is the hook here. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Knowledge speaks, but wisdoms listen. So try to be as unique as possible. You have 5 minutes for this, 1.5 minutes to brainstorm, and remaining thing to write it down, okay. Try to be as unique as possible. If your handwriting is little bit of affected, it's fine, okay, but try to be as quick as possible, and once your time is up, we can start reading out. Online students, just write it, take a pic of that and send it to me on my Telegram ID. Knowledge speaks, but the wisdom listens, and your time starts now.
Last 30 seconds. Last 30 seconds. Alright, keep writing and as an you are done, keep passing it. Okay, keep passing your booklets or your whatever your course books, and I am going to read out a few. Okay, Gautam Buddha, even when provoked to extremes, did not show a sign of anger and quietly tried to engage and listen to what the other is trying to say. It does not mean that Buddha was not knowledgeable. He does spoke, but before that, understanding what others' views are was more important to him. It truly reflects, though knowledge is important, it's the wisdom along with the knowledge which prevails. Now, this is a decent enough hook which was sent. Okay, so what we can see is he has addressed the topic very well. So the second part, conveying to the examiner that one has addressed the topic, it is taken care of, but it is not a very unique hook. Okay, it has to be a little bit of unique. Now coming to one more which I got, it was the final of 2007 T20 World Cup, last over to go, and Indian captain MS Dhoni faced with the dilemma of whom to give the last over. A lot of noises around him telling him what to do or go with Harbhajan Singh, but on that moment that Indian skipper's wisdom cancelled out the noises and listened to the only words that uttered by his bowler Joginder Sharma. The result, India emerged victorious in the 2007 World Cup. Yeah, it is a commonly known hook, but it is sort of unique in a UPSC context. But one thing is he has expressed effectively. Okay, but little bit more clarity has to be done. What is knowledge part and what is wisdom part? So if there is more clarity on that, it will serve as a very good hook. Otherwise, a good hook, though this anecdote is disputed by other Indians. Okay, but this is a good hook. Okay. Right, and Bhima and Duryodhan were taught under the same teacher. They received similar military and warfare knowledge. During the war of Hastinapur, when Bhima and Duryodhan were asked to choose between large military and large Krishna, Duryodhan backed on his knowledge of warfare to choose a large military to win the war. I think this is Yudhishthira and Duryodhan, okay, to the best of my knowledge, because Mahabharata is one of my favorite books. It has to be Yudhishthira and Duryodhan. If you make mistakes like this will be going to be a disaster. Okay, it's a very commonly known aspect of Mahabharata. Okay, and you cannot mistake the main character. Okay, it is I think Yudhishthira and Duryodhan, where both approach Lord Krishna. Krishna offers them, one can have me and one other person can have my entire army. Duryodhan will feel that okay, one big army is more important than a single individual, where Yudhishthira will be very happy with having Lord Krishna, and as you all know, Krishna becomes the decisive factor in winning the war of Mahabharata. So you cannot make factual mistakes than this. Okay, I'll try and read a couple more. In Bhagavad Gita, we see I'm applying autocorrect here. All your grammatical mistakes I myself correct. Okay, but ensure that you do not make minor grammatical mistakes, because this is the first paragraph that you are writing. Okay, so ensure that here and there in the body it is fine, but first paragraph try to not make any spelling mistakes or grammatical mistake. In Bhagavad Gita, we see how Lord Krishna speaks about immense knowledge. He has, but Arjuna listens to it peacefully. So in the later part of wisdom was gained by listening to the knowledge helps Arjuna to seize the attachment and fight without thinking about the results. Hence, knowledge speaks and wisdom listens. Last statement could be avoided, okay, because the message is conveyed effectively in the first part. Last sentence, hence knowledge speaks and wisdom listens, because it will seem like you're concluding something when you use the words like hence. So, apart from the last sentence, this should be fine. Okay, couple more and I'll take offline here. Consider an important mythological figure. He was well versed in all Vedas, know all godly scriptures, and was the biggest follower of Lord Shiva. His knowledge was well known in all the three worlds. But despite all the early knowledge he possessed, he lacks wisdom. In spite of warning he received from his wife's wise counsel, he full in his hubris
took the fight with a lord, and the result was his defeat. He was none other than Ravana. Alright. So what counsel, okay, what exactly did he ignore? That part could have been little bit better addressed, so that the wisdom part is clearly outlined. Knowledge part is clearly outlined. He was one of the, Ravana was one of the very knowledgeable persons, knowledgeable king. The wisdom part, what exactly did he ignore, could be little more clearly outlined here. Okay, so couple more in the class. Okay, yeah, you have written. Others can keep passing. Okay. Why is everybody writing about Mahabharata? Most of them. Okay. In Mahabharata, during the war of Kurukshetra, Duryodhan made Bhishma as the leader of the supreme army. At that time, young commanders made fun of him because he was old to lead the army, but none were aware of his capabilities. The commanders had just the knowledge of Bhishma and did not know about his capabilities. Duryodhana listened to others, but he had vision what Bhishma brings to the table and the wisdom of having him as a commander. Good enough, but the wisdom part has to be clearly outlined. So remember, you should convey to the examiner, apart from grabbing the attention of the examiner, you should also convey that entirety of the topic is addressed. Okay. Sir, it's in quotes, okay, inverted commas. Sir, I think we should speak to the PM of India and clarify what they are up to. End of the quote. Said a CIA supervisor to his director. Director pushed aside the advice of the worried supervisor and boasted in the press conference that USA is a superpower and no other country can escape from its supervision. Right, Pokhran? The first 4 lines only will give me what the movie is about. Okay, USA is a superpower and no other country can escape from its supervision. Right then, the news broke out that India had become a full-fledged nuclear state, thus changing global power dynamics from 1998. The president of USA accepted their mistake of not being wise in listening to the intelligence given by the spies of their allies, Pakistan and China, etc. The intellectual capacity of Indian scientists was successful in sneaking through the supervision of American spy satellites and their officer engaged in espionage. Now, this is a quite elaborate hook. I told you it has to be concise. Okay, at best, the first paragraph can go. Overall, I told you 5 to 7 lines. First paragraph, since it's the first paragraph, can go up to 9. Okay, try to write it more concisely. There are a lot more details. You don't have to make it like a movie, right? The first line you can cut it off. So you save first sentence you can cut it off. It saves 3 lines there. So can be brief. And again, the wisdom part is again not clearly outlined. Keep passing, keep passing, keep passing. Yeah. In Battle of Okinawa during Second World War, US soldier participated in that battle against Japanese army, but in the war Japanese started to lose because of other factions than the military warfare techniques. During that time, one US soldier listened to his military knowledge, won the war, but his wisdom says to play with equal level playing battlefield. Then he went on and he lifted the Japanese soldier by his own without weapons. This is none other than Desmond Doss. Okay, this shows that knowledge speaks but wisdom listens. Right, this has to be more clearly outlined. The knowledge part, what exactly was the knowledge part of Desmond Doss and what exactly was the wisdom part. So there is no clarity here. Okay, so can be more clear in nature. All right, so couple more we'll read out and then do the next exercise. Ganesha and Subramanya. Okay, Ganesha and Subramanya were fighting that who was the favorite of their parents. They went to ask Shiva and Parvati. To decide the issue, they gave a challenge to circumcircle the earth and come. Then as soon as it was said, Subramanya flew off to do it. But wise Ganesha started to circumcircle their parents. Well enough, but linked to the topic. What is knowledge? What is wisdom? Right? So what is knowledge? What is wisdom? Should be clearly linked. Okay. Last couple of them. It was 2019. India's premier space research Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3, okay, very cliched, okay, this is very cliched. It was 2019, India's premier space organization ISRO was about to achieve that not many had achieved at that point of time. 15 minutes to that soft landing of Chandrayaan 2, the mission failed due to the failure of satellite to get vertical motion. ISRO chairman at that time, K. Sivan, did not speak much but listened to his team regarding the technicalities of the failure. He with his wisdom chose to listen to his team rather than justifying the 15 minutes of terror. Down the line, 4 years later, in August 2023, India was on the moon due to the wisdom of people like Dr. K. Shivan, who, with their knowledge, could have justified the failure. Good enough, okay, can be little better, okay. Just last couple more. I'll give opportunities for others in the next hook, okay, so that everybody is covered. During World War II, neither certainty of end nor attacks, deciphering the German Epicurean code of communication was golden. Might to the end of the war, Alan Turing, who was I think that is a Enigma code rather than Epicurean code. Alan Turing, who was prominent scientist who was guided and wise enough to take inputs which resulted and turned out the war which had shook the conscience of the world, could be more effectively expressed. The part with respect to knowledge and wisdom has to be connected in a better way. In 1900s, in Kumaon region of Uttarakhand, a Champavat tiger had killed around 200 people. Government, full form of government, no short forms here, okay, only official abbreviations like UN, WTO can be used, otherwise full forms. Government had roped in the best trophy hunters, but everyone failed until Jim Corbett arrived. Jim was able to neutralize the tiger. What set apart Corbett from other venture was Jim always paid attention to the knowledge of the villagers, since they were the children of the forest. Okay, wisdom part and knowledge, very nicely written hook, unique hook, but the slight interlink between knowledge and wisdom is slightly missing here, which you could work upon. Okay, so good enough. Others will get an opportunity in the next hook. Now, if I was writing, okay, what would be my hook for that? Okay, knowledge, speak, wisdom, listen. Okay, I would start with an anecdote here of Stanislav Petrov. I think this is part of the value-added material also, I guess. If not added, I'll add it for this year. So Stanislav Petrov was in charge of nuclear missile during the Cold War. He was in USSR. The name itself suggests he was on the USSR high-ranking official. Now, his subordinate calculation and radar information was US had launched missiles on USSR. The knowledge was US had launched missiles on USSR. And the protocol said that as soon as the radar shows that missiles have been launched, they have to counter retaliate. That was the protocol. This is the knowledge part. But Stanislav Petrov wanted to reconfirm the calculation based on his wisdom and insight to confirm if it is a real threat. And when he re-verified, it found out to be a hoax or a error in the radar. If Stanislav Petrov or if Petrov had listened to the knowledge, that might have resulted in World War III, but his wisdom played a part in reducing tension between US and USSR. Small, short, sweet, conveys the knowledge part as well as the wisdom part. Both has to be clearly outlined. So I want you to add a third aspect to your hook. There I dictated two aspects, right? So third aspect, I wanted to do the exercises and add it. Go back to the where I dictated with respect to the hook. 2 points I have dictated, right? Attention of the examiner and understanding of the topic. Those 2 points. Add a third point. Hook should cover entirety of the topic. Hook should cover entirety of the topic. So entirety of the topic means knowledge should also be covered, wisdom should also be covered, not one half or the other half. This is a common mistake that everybody makes. Like I was pointing out, right? Some of you have covered knowledge, some of you have covered wisdom, some of you have covered the entirety of the topic. So a good hook covers the entirety of the topic. If you have used a unique hook that covers only one half of the topic, that means it will not serve as a very good hook. Right? Clear? We'll do one more exercise. Try to be as unique as possible here. Since the font is not visible, I will just write it on the board itself. Okay, I'll give you 6 minutes for this. You have to write anecdotal hook only, then we will go with a descriptive hook, or I'll give you a choice, okay, whichever hook you want for the next one. We'll go for a technical topic. Patriarchy, it's a PYQ, is the least noticed yet most significant structure of social inequality. Patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. It's a PYQ. Ensure that you take 6 minutes, 1 minute or 1.5 minutes to brainstorm, remaining to write. I'm giving 1 minute extra because it's a technical topic. So, anecdotal hook for this. If you are unable to think of anything anecdotal, you can go with descriptive also, but I want you to try to think of some anecdotes and go through those 3 things. It should be impactful, it should convey to the examiner you understood the topic, and most importantly, not just one part of the topic, entirety of the topic, and your time starts now.
All right, 30 seconds left. Those of you who have written, I'll start reading theirs. Others can continue writing, and then I'll read out some of them. All right, so we'll begin here. One day a neighborhood aunt came with her two boys who were beaten badly by the daughters of Mahavir. The boys were strong, yet the daughters managed to beat them. That day Mahavir Singh realized that gold is gold, whether won by a male or female. Gold to gold hota hai, chora lave ya chori. Dangal, right? Nice translation. Okay, he decided to train his daughters for wrestling. Okay, decided to train his daughter for wrestling. The daughters are none other than Phogat sisters, Geeta and Babita. Thank you for summarizing Dangal movie, which is also based on a real story. But the thing here is how it is least noticed. See, this part is missing in the anecdote that I read. Relevant, but how it is most significant, that has to be more clearly outlined. I am not saying it is a irrelevant hook. It is relevant, but how it is least noticed and how it is most significant, that part has to be more clearly outlined. Okay, so this is one thing. All right, next. Betty Friedan in USA did a research on white American women and asked them few questions. These women belong to very well-to-do families. When asked women that are you happy with your life, most of the women were not able to express what is the problem in their life. Later on she termed it as a problem that has no name. This problem is patriarchy, which is so subtle that even in progressive society that we are not able to notice it. This shows that patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Very, very unique and a well-written hook. Okay, conveys the entirety of the topic, how it is least noticed, because women don't they are unhappy, but they are unable to realize why they are unhappy. Right? So this is a well written hook. Next. A young woman engineer in the decade of 1960s was a rare as a sighting of a white Bengal tiger. But one woman mustered up courage as was the only female in the class of 60 males. She was accepted into college with certain conditions that might seem absurd, but then as it might be acceptable. It went like she could not talk to boys, could only wear a sari, etc. A woman's washroom at the time was a privilege. Despite these conditions, she graduated with flying colors, but was amused to see her job offer for engineers that said lady engineers need not apply. This highlights the deep roots of patriarchy in our society, but the woman that broke the chains was none other than Sudha Murthy. So decent enough hook it is, but where is the least noticed part? How it is the most significant structure of social inequality? Again, that has to be more clearly outlined here. Okay, next. In the commercial advertisements, women were seen doing domestic works and men being only bread earner. People plainly watch this advertisement to get to know about brands. Yet it is reality that the structure of society already stereotypically disturbed labor performed at home to women contained them to four walls of house and men being the portrayed as a cash earner. So good enough hook, but this part, most significant structure of social inequality, little more elaborately outlined. Alright, so this is it. Okay. By 73rd Amendment Act, women are provided with 33% reservation in Panchayati Raj institutions. They won the elections, but the policy is implemented through their Pradhan Pati. This shows that in letter women are eradicating the barrier of patriarchy, but in spirit it is something else very amazingly done. Okay, very simple concept of Pradhan Pati or Pati Panchayat this person has used and very well expressed. Okay, so this part, significant part, okay, you could tell that they are still bound by the shackles of society. Little bit of word play if you do, that would be much better. Next. Take a scene from general kindergarten at school.
At the reception, we will find a smiling lady with loads of beauty products applied on her face to look more appealing and attractive. Most of the teachers in the school will comprise of females. At the surface, it looks like we may have overcome the patriarchal forces, but it is not to be. It is the patriarchy which gets least noticed, where a woman considered as fit only for certain jobs, pink collared in the above case, and the inequality it creates in the form of stereotyping women into a particular job, glorifying their non-cognitive skills more, and as consequences getting little opportunity to break this facade of social mobility. First paragraph, it was little weak. Okay, you could have chosen a better, like you could have brought in the aspect of glass ceiling itself rather than going to kindergarten. But second paragraph was very impactful. Keep it up. Good job. Okay. Albert Einstein, the greatest mind of modern era, who laid foundation of theories, which is leading to exploration of the world and leading him to win Nobel Prize. But history hardly appreciates Miller-Marick, Einstein's wife, who was behind early calculation made by Einstein, which led to lay the foundation of various theories, including the famous theory of relativity. Had Minerva not been if had Minerva would be a man, had Minerva be a man, wouldn't she be famous as a famous mathematician who also helped Einstein? Patriarchy hasn't to be noticed, but has to be evident in the history of evolution. So very unique hook, but you are lacking on the expression part. Okay, here and there, since you have not expressed it effectively, okay, you are sort of lacking. Okay, like you are sort of lacking there. So work on the expression part. Okay, so we will see that. Yeah, here offline. For most part of the history of writing, anonymous had always been a woman. In the field of story writing, which had become a mainstream, writers like J.K. Rowling had to face many instances of rejection of her scripts and stories until one day she was able to break the glass ceiling and make a name for himself. So the least noticed part, okay, can be more outlined clearly. Yeah. Pass together, few of them who we have not read so far. Okay, opportunities for them. Yeah. When a woman approached a professor to do PhD in the field of science, she was rejected by a professor who was Sir C.V. Rahman, thinking she was a woman. She can't sustain in the field of science. But she took this challenge, got PhD seat, and successfully sequenced a protein of potato, and also she became the first woman PhD holder in India. She is none other than Kamala Shori. Okay, good. Least noticed part is also outlined, as well as the most significant part could be more clearly outlined, but a unique one. Patriarchy has been present in the society from time immemorial. It is part and parcel of social structure. It provides function and non-function to the modern society, yet the harmful effect of patriarchy unnoticed, because patriarchy is the modern form of slavery, as said by Gandhi. Against patriarchy not coming from women efficiently, not recognizing the patriarchy as a social harm. Good. Okay, it's a descriptive hook, very well written, and you use the quote by Mahatma Gandhi very effectively. Right? Couple more. When we listen to the story of Parshuram, what does it convey to us? Once he was ordered to cut off his mother's head by his father. He was in great turmoil, but at the end he obeyed his father's order. Then he got furious and killed the entire kings and princes of the earth, as his father was a Kshatriya. Why did he not question his father's order? What does the story tell to its reader? Is that whatever may be the command of the father, that must be followed? Are they engraving patriarchy into our mind? Again, a very unique hook. Okay, it sort of addresses the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Well done. What is it? Is everything good? Asked her friend. But yes, but feel something unusual, she said. Would you describe? Her friend asked. it is unusual for a woman who has been under parda from a long time to roam free without anyone asking about it. Where are the men? I did not encounter a single man on my way, she said. Her friend told, this is a woman's paradise. Men are busy with their daily chores while women build machines, work on scientific projects. Sultana in her dreams visited a dreamland where the roles of women and men were reversed, making us realize how patriarchy is least noticed and a significant structure in the society. The exclamation, the shock experienced by Sultana cuts open the patriarchal bubble that seems invisible. Beautifully written. Okay. The person has used a hypothetical example. Very valid in an essay. Essay, you have full freedom as long as you can address to the topic. Okay, you have absolute freedom as long as you can address to the topic. So, very nicely written, very unique. Both the least noticed part as well as the significant structure of social inequality part are well addressed. Only thing is, could have been a little bit more concise. Okay, if it was a little more concise, that would have been made it more impactful. Last, oh my God. Okay, so last few. A married couple of more than 30 years, Mamta and her husband Prakash were avid travelers, often visiting places of religious importance around India during their holiday. This time they were on their way to a famous temple in Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu. As soon as they arrived at their destination in the public bus, the usual routine began. Prakash would set out in search of a safe place away from public gaze where his wife could relieve herself. Having gotten used to the lack of availability of public toilets for women, both Mamta and Prakash accepted this routine as a norm. For Mamta, it felt as if patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Again, you don't have to repeat the topic itself, directly link it to least noticed and most significant structure. Could be written very concisely, but otherwise very well written. Like, lack of public toilets for women, right? And that is very again least noticed, but becomes a more significant structure here. Once a mother of a 15-year-old boy intervened in a discussion between the boy's father and his relatives or close friends, then the father immediately silenced her and said it was not a thing which she should talk about, and no one in the hall questioned it, and the mother remained mum. This small thing might get unnoticed, but still shows the deeply rooted patriarchal notions of the society. Again, fair enough, could have been expressed a little bit more effectively, but fair enough. Last one for this exercise. A male and a female worker with similar positions and tasks have a pay gap between them in the most of the countries. This is often justified by some generalized reasons, but often the gender aspect gets ignored, where a woman is less preferred compared to men. Such hidden misogyny does not empower women enough to speak up. Again, the most significant structure and the least noticed, because in my opinion, gender pay gap is actually noticed. It is a noticed structure of patriarchy, right? But could have expressed more effectively. So good. Okay, you are all learning. Okay, you can also note down one more. Okay, since one guy had written from movies. Movies are a good way, socially relevant movies. So anything that sticks to the demand of the topic can always be written. Okay, can always be written. Now there was a recent movie that was released. I think most of you might have watched it, Lapata Ladies. Read Lapata Ladies. So in that I found a very interesting scene. The female protagonist, the character called Fool, refuses to call her husband by his name. I don't remember the husband's name, but she will not call her husband by her name, and that becomes one of the reasons for her to lose her husband, and all the interchange happens. And in the climax, she musters the courage enough to call her husband by her name. So this is an aspect of patriarchy which is so generalized that it is hardly noticed, and which pushes women to show that they are unequal enough to even call their husbands by name, right? Creating a barrier significant enough to show that men are superior to women. So least noticed, but the most significant structure, and the root cause of it lies in the patriarchal notions per se. Right. So this is with respect to the, if you can use this also, Lapata ladies. There are many anecdotes in that movie, but this will fit right into that topic. Okay. We will do for one more. We will do philosophical now. Okay, and we will do for one more. We will keep it 5 minutes only. Okay, try and finish off that anecdote within the 5 minutes, right? And try to be as unique as possible. I will give you a choice now. Okay, you can write anecdotal or a story hook. You can write a descriptive hook. It's up to you. Okay, but try to be as unique, as impactful, and as effectively as possible. Okay, as unique, as impactful, as effectively expressed as possible. Try to be very, very on the point. Okay, take 6 minutes only. Take 6 minutes. I'll give you 1 minute extra, but give it your best shot, and then we can read a few. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you, time starts now. Take 6 minutes, 1.5 minutes to brainstorm, and then write a very impactful hook, be it anecdotal, be it descriptive. Apart from quotation based hook, for this topic it can be anything. Okay, give it your best shot. Take 6 minutes, time starts now. Alright, I'll start reading some of the hooks I got from online students, and others can keep writing, and then I'll read yours. Okay. So, when the whole world was crumbling in front of Manoj, I think 12th fail movie is coming, making its debut in SAH 24. He felt helpless and took up menial jobs to help his family. The moment his friends stepped in and said that this isn't the purpose that you should be doing, you came to Delhi to become a civil servant, so be that. When Manohar realized that had a solid support system, he worked hard and fulfilled what he was meant to do. It's not exactly a good hook that explains the topic. Okay, it is somewhere related to the topic, but not very well addressing the topic. You could write a better hook here. Next, you have at minimum only 2 years to live, said the doctor to a young man in his early 20s. Man was diagnosed with a life-threatening disease, ALS, with a minuscule chance of surviving. Against all this odd, he fought and kept the belief that nothing will happen to him. Today, we know this man by his seminal work in the field of physics. He devised the theory of everything, unraveled the mystery of the universe, and many more. He is none other than famous Stephen Hawking. He proved that when one realizes nothing is lacking, the whole world, in this case whole universe, belongs to you. Yeah, decent enough, but again still fails to capture the entirety of the topic. Hits the topic but does not hit the bullseye here, right? So could be better. It is rightly said that limits of our achievements are decided by ourselves. Only one civil service aspirant was rushing towards his exam center when he met with a serious accident on his way. However, ignoring his injuries, he continued to move and sat in the examination hall. When even appearing for the exam might seem impossible for some in such situation, the person secured a rank and became IPS officer in the same year. If you would not have considered it as a nothing lacking attempt, he would not have conquered his difficulties. Thus all is in our mind. Again, does not hit the bull's eye here. Okay, a decent enough hook, but my suggestion is avoid UPSC aspirants in your UPSC civil service essay. You can, but I don't know why, but I feel it should be avoided. Nothing wrong in doing that. My personal suggestion is avoid. Right. Next, Nargis Mohammadi, an Iranian woman activist sitting in isolated jail, were hopeful and resilient to free Iranian women from the shackles of patriarchy and exploitation. She has been beaten by police many times, arrested to solicited jail, yet she did not lose her courage and patience to earn basic human rights for women. That's it. Okay. Yet she did not lose her courage and patience to earn basic human rights for women. Very nicely explained. Okay. Most of the topic is addressed, but I think when realize nothing is lacking, that part could have been more emphasized upon. This saying conveys that if you give 100% efforts to something, then success is yours. Ultimately, example, Yuvraj Singh, who fought cancer, has to be more elaborate. Directly don't go this saying states. Start with Yuvraj Singh if possible, right? So could have been expressed much better. Now, the desire are unlimited and there is no limit to what one want, even if they get the first thing. Buddha talked about doing away with the desire and observe ourselves. If one is able to understand ourselves and surrounding, the path of self-realization and knowledge, making ourselves Buddha, one who know it all, is achieved. Whole knowledge is known to him. Good enough hook. Okay. Actually, one of the hooks that makes proper justice to the entirety of the topic. Okay. So proper justice to the entirety of the topic. Good enough, but it would have been more impactful if you use some specific aspect of Buddha or Buddha's life rather than just using Buddha as a concept. Alright, and one more before I take offline students. One day Riya was traveling in a Okay, this is the last one. Okay. So it's a previous one. You have sent the previous one. In a story of folklore, a frog falls in an empty cylindrical box. It tries to climb up. The remaining frogs discourage it by saying it's impossible. As the frog was deaf, it considered their actions as encouragement. It jumps with all its effort, thinking it does not lack anything in the whole world belongs to it. Finally, it comes out of the box as a surprise to its peers. Good enough, okay. But a very moral story which we studied in I think school, but good enough. Okay, so offline students pass me yours. So you should start collecting. Okay, while I am reading online, you start collecting. We can read a few, and yeah, I think this should be sufficient for now. In early 2000s, there was a girl who was very passionate about swimming, and she tried in many competitions and tournaments, but kept on losing for ages to come. But realized that she was lacking enough practice, skills and techniques, and swiftly realizing that she made conscious effort to improve her techniques and skills. Finally, when she realized that she is not confident enough and nothing is lacking, she again participated in swimming competitions and went to become the first woman to swim past Park Strait. Her name is Bhula Chaudhary, and now it seems the whole world belongs to her. Could be a little more concise, more detailed explanation. A woman from Iran belonging to the Yazidi community was kidnapped, sexually exploited and subjected to severe violence by Iranian army. Despite the threat from army, she managed to escape from that camp, and she stood against the Iranian army and successfully exposed the brutal activities of Iranian army to the world. This is none other than Nadia Murad. For this act, she received Nobel Peace Prize in 2007 that encouraged her to promote other peace works. Above incident shows Nadia crossed the barrier by thinking that nothing is lacking in the world, and then she got support from the world too. Well expressed. Okay. Initially, when I started reading it, I was not sure how we will connect to the topic, but last line, see, it's all wordplay. Okay. How you connect to the topic, in the last line it is connected well. There is this scene in MS Dhoni Untold Story, where a young Dhoni gets intimidated by the greatness of Yuvraj Singh, who was playing in opposite team. He feels insecure about himself and loses that match. Oh, that scene, right? फिर आता है युवराज सिंह, right? I remember that. He later realizes that he lost the opponent even before the match had begun by not believing in himself and by not backing his strength. He started believing in himself and later won as the first T20 World Cup. Last line could have been more. I think you were lacking a little bit of time, but could have been better expressed. On the night of April 14, 1914, a scientific lab caught fire. The fire was so intense that all the works of a person working in the lab vanished along with the ashes. The scientist on the next morning surveyed his charred dreams. He smiled and told himself, nature is so beautiful, it burned down all the hidden failures. He knew that he lacked nothing from the perspective of striving excellence. 3 weeks later, he came up with a revolutionary invention, phonograph. Thomas Alva Edison proved yet again that he was ahead of his times and made the scientific world belong to him. Very beautifully written. Okay, very beautifully written. Good job. Once lived a boy who hailed from Karnataka known as Sagar. He, being a Jain, was asked to question all things done by his mom during fasting and puja. He then graduated from Jain literature, understood the hook and crook of it, and now he himself is the Acharya of Jainism. He is Acharya Vidyasagar, who helped the revival of Jainism in the 21st century. Link to the topic is missing. What did he realize that nothing is lacking? The clear outline and the whole world belongs to you. That clear thing is a little bit of lacking here. What do we do if you find out that you cannot have children in your life? In today's technology, you have many options like IVF, surrogacy. At the end, you can also adopt an orphan. But there is someone who she knew she cannot have any children. She realized that there is no problem with that. She adopted a lot of trees and nourished them. She is known as Salu Marada Timmaka, and the whole world recognizes her work and lauds her. She took this person has taken a cliche and expressed it very nicely. Okay, so good job. Okay, this is a good hook and fits into the topic very nicely. Next, a sage was in deep meditation when he was disturbed by a young boy. The angered sage retaliated by cursing the boy that he shall not have his powers anymore. Hanuman, throughout his journey from a boy to adult, did not even try to realize its power until he met Lord Rama on the banks of Dhanushkodi. The words of Rama instilled confidence and belief, and Hanuman, realizing he lacks nothing, he was able to grow bigger and fly to Sri Lanka, visiting Sita and burning the whole Lanka down on his way back. Good enough? Could have been expressed a little bit more concisely. Okay, last one. So many. Then I'll have a look later on. Okay, so I'll have a look later on. So well done. Okay, so the hook part, I think you have gotten a hang of the hook. Some of you are writing really good hooks. Some of you are still in the process. Today in the Telegram channel after the class, I will post more hooks. Okay, more topics per se. Or any topic you can take, okay, write it and you can self-evaluate, okay, the home exercises, or you can self-evaluate. So, any doubts pertaining to the hook part, kindly ask me now. Whatever the exercises we have done, you may have any doubts, okay, so those doubts kindly ask. Otherwise, we are going to the next part of the introduction, that is the funnel. Very briefly, funnel is needed. It's not a very important part. Hook is very important, and then the most important part is the thesis, that is the core that contains the core argument. So doubts, any doubts with respect to the hook? No doubts? All clear? Online students, any doubts pertaining to the hook? Do ask, or whatever we have covered so far. So the ideal length of the hook, 1 to 2 paragraphs at best. Okay, 1 to 2 paragraphs. Try to keep it as concisely as possible. Okay, ideal length should be minimum of 1 paragraph. Okay, maximum of 2. That should be the ideal length of the hook. So let's say if one paragraph or 2 paragraphs serves as the hook, the third paragraph will contain your funnel and the thesis statement. Any further doubts? Ask me. So 3 paragraphs of introduction should be more than sufficient. 2 to 3 paragraphs overall. 1 to 2 paragraphs of hook. The third paragraph will contain your funnel and the thesis statement. Now I think everybody has seen a funnel in their lifetime. That's how the funnel looks like. Now, what is the purpose of a funnel? It takes something very broad, narrows it down, right? So we pour some liquid up, it narrows it down, it gets from generic, it becomes specific. So the hook part that we have seen, the attention getter, it's a very generic, it's a very broad. We use an anecdote, we could use a story, we sometimes use movies as well. Oh, before we progress, I want to tell you a unique hook for when you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. See, many of you have used Buddha. Okay, Buddha is a very commonly known example, but there are some aspects of Buddha that are lesser known. So if you use lesser known aspects of commonly known cliches, it will still serve as a unique hook. So let's talk about one lesser known aspect of Buddha's life, and that will serve as a proper hook for the previous topic. Now, you all remember Buddha will leave his empire or his kingdom, his wife, his son, right? What is the name of Buddha's son? Anybody knows? Rahula, right? So what happens is, one of the first thing that Buddha does after achieving enlightenment, 12 years after he has left his home, once he achieves the enlightenment, he first goes back to his home to visit his wife and son to seek their forgiveness, because he had sort of abandoned them, right? So there his wife is obviously really angry at Buddha, Yashodhara. So she is really angry at Buddha, and she asks Buddha, like, what exactly are you going to give your son Rahula, that you are meeting him after 12 years? Because Rahula would be basically an infant when Buddha would leave everything. And he tells, the only thing I can give him is my begging bowl. He will have that begging bowl, and he gives him. And if he can realize that, if he has this begging bowl, he has the entire world. That means if you know that you need nothing, you have everything. And that will make a good hook, I think, in my opinion, for this topic. Right? Just that begging bowl, okay, where Buddha gives his son a begging bowl to make him realize that if he realizes that he needs nothing, that he has everything. This topic that we discussed previously talks about contentment, basically contentment. When you realize that you need nothing further, that means you have everything. And I think this is, a very relatively unknown hook, which I want to plan to add it to this year's value added material, okay, and this will make a very good hook, okay, so for this topic, because he is clearly conveying his son that, okay, all you need in life is a begging bowl. If you have this, you will not need anything else in life, because everything in this world belongs to you, right? So contentment, once you achieve that state, right? So yeah, coming back to the funnel here. So let's say we started off with a hook, okay, we use Buddha example, we use so many examples here, anecdotes here. Funnel is to narrow down the topic. Now, narrow down the topic to the thesis statement. Okay, thesis statement will begin from tomorrow. Today we will end at the funnel. Now, for funnel, which would come either in the one paragraph or two paragraphs of hook you have written, either in the next paragraph. You have to, don't merge it with the hook. Okay, always start the funnel with a separate paragraph. Now, two things here. If it is a technical topic or a subject-wise topic that we saw, no need of a funnel. Directly go to the thesis statement. It will simply elaborate. If it is a technical topic or a subject-wise topic or a GS topic, essay is based on a GS topic, no need of a funnel. Directly you can go to the thesis statement. But if it is a philosophical topic, it is suggested that you write a funnel. Why? You saw philosophical topics are abstract in nature. Like most of you did not actually identify the previous topic. When you realize nothing is lacking, entire world belongs to you. It is basically primarily talking about contentment. You fail to recognize that. So what you have to do is use funnel to convey the meaning of the topic. Each quote will have a meaning. Here the contentment was the gist. So in a maximum of a sentence, not more than 1.5 to 2 lines, okay, as less as possible words you have to use, and convey the gist or the meaning of the given philosophical topic. So you start the second paragraph or third paragraph. If you have written one paragraph of hook, second paragraph, or if you have written 2 paragraphs of hook, third paragraph, the first line should be, for a philosophical topic, the meaning or the crux or the gist of the given essay topic in less than 2 lines, shorter the better, because you have to write the thesis also, right? So the first line. Now what is it doing is, it's connecting the hook to the thesis statement. The funnel is serving the purpose of connecting the hook to the thesis statement. So ensure that you do it. Okay, ensure that you do that. You connect the hook to the thesis statement. For technical essays, it's not suggested, but I will tell you what to write if at all it comes to the technical essay. But for a philosophical essay, what are you writing? The crux, the gist, or the meaning of the topic given. Even in a philosophical essay, if the topic is very simple, like
Few years back they had asked the topic, courage to accept and dedication to improve are two keys to success. You can skip the funnel, directly go to the thesis. Okay, if the topic is fairly easily understandable, then you can actually skip the funnel. Either it is a technical or a philosophical topic. But if the topic is complex, like knowledge speaks, wisdom listens, or if the topic has certain hidden meaning, like when you realize nothing is lacking, the entire world or the whole world belongs to you, use one sentence, just one sentence, as fewer words as possible. The shorter the better, because why I am saying is you have to follow up the next sentence. Your thesis should start, your core argument should start, so it has to be shorter. The shorter the better it is, right? So you have to be shorter the better.
First line of the sentence itself.
First line of the paragraph itself, first sentence, shorter the better. Okay, we will take certain philosophical topics, okay, and I just want you to identify the hidden meaning behind the topic. Okay, I'll just give you a few topics. I think that's not all right, so I'll just read it out. Okay, you just let me know. Okay, you just let me know. Okay, what exactly do you understand by those topics? Okay, the hidden meaning, the gist, okay, the crux. Okay, first topic, a smile is the chosen vehicle for all ambiguities. A smile is the chosen vehicle for all ambiguities. So what do you think it means? A smile is the chosen vehicle. It's a PYQ for all ambiguities. Positive attitude in all circumstances. Okay, in whether it is an uncertain circumstance, whether it is a negative circumstance or a positive circumstance. Now I will give the topic. You read it out, and then we will see what you tell. First, write it down in less than 30 seconds, and then we will see how you have interpreted. Shorter the better. Remember, shorter the funnel, the better it is. Okay. Topic. You can just write down the meaning of it rather than writing down the topic. Okay. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. Okay. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. So write down the funnel for it. Series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. If anybody has done the writing, can start reading it out.
Rationality over emotions.
Okay, a little bit more, can you make it better? Rationality over emotions. History is a testimony that pragmatism prevails. Any other interpretation? Give it as a sentence. Do not just give me keywords. One short sentence. Come on, it's very simple, not a complicated topic.
Being a workhorse rather than daydreaming.
That could be a dimension in the body, not the funnel. Funnel should directly come to the core meaning of the topic. Then, what else?
Can you repeat?
History is a series of victories won by scientific man over the romantic man.
Imagination is key to the future prospects.
That is actually saying opposite of that. We can use that as a dimension of the body, as a counter argument in the body, but not as a funnel. More interpretations, come on. Dominance of rationalism over romanticism, that is one. Yeah? One sentence, proper sentence. Yeah, this is a good one. History is a proof that the realities of the situation have always played a key role than what the situation could be. Could be little more shorter, Ajay, here, but fair enough. Yeah. Daydreaming won't fill your stomach. Include the rational part as well. Okay. So good enough. All right. So next I'll start writing on the board. Okay, so that you all understand. Okay. Just write it in a as short as a sentence as possible. Philosophy of wantlessness is utopian, while materialism is a chimera. Philosophy of wantlessness is utopian, while materialism is a chimera. Not a very straightforward topic. 2021 this was. Come on, if you have done, start reading. Start reading, come on. It's not that also complicated. Little bit more, one or two words you can add to make it a proper sentence, Brijesh. Yes? Chimera meaning, so first of all, chimera means imagination, and if there is any keyword in the essay which you do not understand, do not pick the topic. Okay, if you are not sure about the word meaning, this was a 2021 topic, okay, so if you are not sure what it means, do not assume. It can actually massively backfire in the essay. Chimera means imagination. Now I think you will be able to tell, right? Yeah.
It is very important to follow the golden mean of.
Enough, that's enough. Okay, it's important to follow the golden mean. Right, good. Then between wantlessness and materialism. Yeah. Then any other interpretation? Any other? Yes. Tell me, there is no right or wrong.
One needs to understand what he wants other than what others think.
Okay, one needs to understand what he himself wants in a balanced way. Okay, balance is the key here. Midpoint, balance, mean, right? Any other? Yeah. Okay. Okay, there is always a mean path between our wants and needs. Okay, there is always a middle ground or a middle path between our wants and needs. Yeah, essay topic explains the importance of having the middle path in the desire of needs. Anybody else? Same here, midpoint, middle, balance. Okay, so philosophy of wantlessness is utopian. Okay, and while materialism is a chimera. Men have both their needs, okay, and they should always avoid the extremes. So it could be like you need to always avoid the extremes of wantlessness, okay, as well as the materialism. Okay, so that is also one interpretation. All right, so we will do for the next topic. The process of self-discovery is now technologically outsourced. The process of self-discovery is now technologically outsourced. Come on, quickly. The process of self-discovery has now been technologically outsourced. The process has become more mechanical. Okay, fair enough.
We often tend to listen to outside voices than inner.
We often tend to listen
The outside voices than
to outside noises than ourselves. Okay, one way of telling that, but still. Man has stopped thinking for himself. Very extreme statement, could have been a little more balanced. In order to know himself, man is relying more on external factors than his own thinking. Good. Anybody else? Yeah. Less people to people communication. Technology part is not addressed. right? So it has to be entirety of the topic. Yeah. Any further interpretation of this topic?
Technology has included even into our journey of science.
You are rephrasing the topic, but fair enough. Okay, technology has even included in the journey of our self discovery, right? Okay, fair enough. So this is one. Okay, we will do one last topic, and then we will wrap up the class. Very fairly simple, because the quote is about simplicity. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Yeah. Very simple. Simple living, high thinking, fair enough. What else? The shorter the code, the difficult it gets to interpret, is it? Happens. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Come on.
Trying to be simple is the most complex thing.
Very bang on. Trying to be simple is the most complex thing these days. Anybody else? Simple living, high thinking, low profile, high thinking, potato. Oh, okay. Keep the process fair and simple, and the targets can be achieved efficiently. Good. Yeah. Smaller the home, closer the people. Actually, does not do justice to the topic. It should decipher the meaning or the crux of the topic, right? So good enough. All right. So funnel, as I just to recap, okay, has to be as short as possible. And if it's a fairly simple topic where there is no hidden meaning per se, then you can actually ignore writing, directly go to the thesis. If the topic needs little bit of deciphering, so you can always write. Okay, being simple is the most difficult thing. That is also valid. With living a easy life, a man can live peacefully. I think this is for the previous topic. Okay, so ensure that you only use it for the complex topic. Otherwise, why I am saying is, when we study thesis tomorrow, the core argument tomorrow, that is the most important part of the introduction. If this becomes big, the funnel becomes big, that becomes short. That should not happen. Okay, just to recap today's class, we started off with discussing the various parameters of UPSC. We discovered that what's supposed to be done, what's not supposed to be done, and always remember to stick to those parameters prescribed by UPSC at any cost. Right, and the next thing is we started off with various types of essays that you could write: argumentative type, expository or analytical type, as well as the descriptive type. And then we did the brainstorming, the importance of brainstorming, why you should brainstorm. Then onwards we went on to the actual introduction. Introduction has three parts: hook, funnel, and thesis. Today we have covered hook and funnel. Hook, we saw various types of hooks that could be written: anecdotal hook, interesting question hook, or quotation based hook, or a descriptive hook. And then we saw funnel, which connects the hook to the thesis statement. And tomorrow we will begin the class with the heart of the essay, that is the thesis, which contains the core argument. Core argument is the heart of the essay. Right. If you have any doubts, first I will take online students' doubt for the entire session, and then I will address offline students. Have your baseline essays to glance through. So I will glance, those of you who written your baseline, I will glance through your baseline as well after I am done taking the doubts. Yeah, any doubts, online students, for the entire session today, you can ask me now. If not, we will be wrapping up the session. Alright, if no doubts, okay, I will If you have any, I'll wrap up the session. If you have anything, you can always reach out to me on my Telegram ID. Have a good rest of the day. Take care.